Well, then that's where we're starting, is when I say I don't know how to start this episode. So what are we talking about today?
Oh my gosh, we're talking about a movie. Everybody wants us to talk about movies, so we're going to talk about movies.
What movie are we talking about?
We're talking about the movie 37 Seconds.
37 Seconds?
And you only have 37 seconds to do it. Go.
37 Seconds is a movie about a young woman who has cerebral palsy, and she's a manga artist. She is the assistant to a prominent manga artist, and she wants to strike out on her own, and a bunch of stuff happens as a result of that.
I'm pretty sure that was more than 37 seconds.
Look, okay, you can't contain me.
I wrote down...
Wow!
I copied directly from the internet.
Wow. Plagiarism.
Yep. Yuma is a young Japanese woman who suffers from cerebral palsy. Torn between her obligations towards her family and her dream to become a manga artist, she struggles to lead a self-determined life.
Basically what I said.
It's pretty close, actually.
Yeah. And then a bunch of stuff happens. You skipped that part.
Is it cerebral palsy or cerebral palsy?
So that's... I don't know the proper pronunciation because I grew up hearing it as cerebral.
That's what I heard.
But the word is cerebral. Like your cerebral cortex.
And there's not an I.
No, but there's a second R. Because people say cerebral.
Oh, yeah.
But it's cerebral.
Cerebral. You know what? Both is good.
All right. Point is, I apologize for the place in which I was raised. Just as a whole. And
cerebral.
Yeah.
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 We'll go with that.
Yeah. I'm
sure anybody who wants to will correct us in the comments.
I'm sure. Please. Have at. Go for it. Okay. So, I suppose, what did you think of 37 Seconds? Wow.
That was not my thoughts on 37 Seconds. No, actually...
I quite liked it.
I know, actually, I was literally about to say that. I like this movie. I thought it was good. It was really nice to see the disabled person in a role that, like, didn't shy away or, like, infantilize or objectify or, like... make it into, like, oh, you're such a superhero and things like that. Like, It's just, like, just a person.
Mm-hmm.
Just a person.
Just talks about her problems and how people treat her, which is
her
largely
life.
Infantilization and...
It is, yes. Like, of course that stuff is in the movie,
right.
But it's because it's putting on display that people with disabilities are treated that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not cool.
No.
It's not cool at all.
No. But it's a good movie.
But it's a good movie.
Yeah.
The actress who plays Yuma, her name is Mei Kayama, actually does have cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
In real life.
Okay. Yeah.
The director, who is Hikari, specifically wanted somebody who had a disability.
Right.
So, like, she put out, like, she said that was one of the most difficult parts about the filming was actually casting that particular role because she wanted somebody who was disabled.
Right.
I thought that was really cool because I think I mean I could. Well, I'll leave that. You can say what you think.
About that or about the movie in general?
I kind of went on a tangent. So.
Well, okay, hold on. Well, let me comment on the tangent then.
What do you think about the movie?
You can't just dangle a tangent in front of my face and then ask me about the movie. So, no, I think being American, mostly being exposed to American media growing up and having it be just normal that it's like, oh, look at this actor's range because they're cast in roles that are, like, outside of their level of knowledge or things that actually affect them. Why is my phone ringing?
Oh, no.
That's a spam call. Screen that call. I'm going to leave that in. Like, look, live on air. I haven't gotten a call on my phone in, like, weeks.
Isn't that how it works, though?
Yes.
Always.
So anyway, I apologize. So growing up in America, where my frame of reference is that people will act in roles where like they have disabilities, like able-bodied people will act in those roles, and then they're like praised because it's like, oh, look at the range of this actor and stuff like that. I really appreciate seeing that, like seeing people who are actually disabled or who are actually affected by the things that their character are affected by, you know, portraying those kinds of people.
Well, there's an
I appreciate that.
authenticity to it.
Yes. Yes.
And what I was going to say, if we're going to keep going on this tangent, I think where this movie had that authenticity, there was, when we watched another movie where the main character was a trans woman, the actor portraying that character is not trans, and we both walked away from that movie just feeling like it was disingenuous. We both felt like this, like, I don't even know how to describe it, like this emptiness.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
The
like,
movie was
I appreciate
fine,
what the movie is trying to do.
It just was like, you could have cast a trans woman. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure like there comes into play like other aspects of that. Like you have to find somebody who's willing to like be dressed up, you know, as the gender that they were assigned at birth, and then have to like go through that. That's a lot. So like I can understand both sides of that. Oh my gosh, the phones.
Both of our phones.
All right, it's in Do Not Disturb. We're done.
Do not disturb us.
Oh my gosh.
That
was a Twitch stream.
Overall, who went live?
Who went live?
Don't out us.
No, I can't tell you.
Oh,
it's a secret.
That one is. No. But overall, I really liked this movie. It was like what, about 2 hours or so?
It's 1 hour and 55 minutes long. And
it feels like it's an entire TV series packed into a movie.
There's a lot going on. The director actually talked about that.
Oh, really?
In one of her interviews. Like, there is so much in this movie.
Yeah.
And she said that when she was like watching it back through, she was like, oh my gosh, there's a lot here. But she was like, but that's kind of like life, isn't it? Because you really can't predict when that kind of stuff is going to happen. Like, you can't predict like how events are going to unfold in your life. And a lot of times, like, things will happen like in rapid succession, you know, when you're not expecting it.
Yeah.
So she felt that played into the like humanity and the humanity of the film.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I can definitely see that. But overall, it's good. I don't know about distribution rights outside of America, but at least in America, Netflix picked up 37 Seconds. So for the foreseeable future, if not forever, that is where you'll be able to see it in America.
Hikari had mentioned that she really wants everybody around the world to see it. So I'm sure like they've pushed for distribution outside of America and Japan.
Yeah.
I don't know the specifics of that, but she definitely wanted it to be seen by multiple like nations.
So for other English speaking people who are listening to this, and non-English speaking people who are also listening to this, one, what did you fall asleep watching on YouTube that it autoplayed this? And two, I'm not sure about the availability of this movie in your territories, but in America at least it is on Netflix, and I definitely recommend it. It's really good.
Oh my gosh, you're whispering.
Yeah. Deal with it. Look, this show is already a train wreck. I'm just embracing it.
I was about to say, it's a train wreck. I was going to fill it in.
So, what I know you did some additional research after we watched this. You kind of took the lead on that. So, what else did you learn? What else do you want to talk about?
I mean, so do you want to talk about like certain aspects of the movie? You know, like usually we go into like the cinematography or the soundtrack or things like that. Like, is there something you want to focus on?
There's nothing specific. We watched this 3 or 4 nights ago, and there's nothing like, not an individual aspect like that that's really sticking out to me.
Okay.
At this point.
Well, I can say that outside of our opinion, reviews online seem to be pretty good for this. And the biggest, like, negative, I don't even know what to... Complaint, yeah, that's the word. Was that the second half of the film is a bit long-winded and formulaic.
Really?
That's what people thought. Which I mean, I guess from my perspective, it really does drop the whole like manga focus, which is like, it feels like that's the crutch of the movie, or the crux of the movie. The crux of the movie. That, you know, it's this woman who, you know, wants to become a manga artist, and, you know, that in and of itself is already difficult. And she has all these other obstacles she's facing, simply because, like, when people see her in a wheelchair, they automatically dismiss her.
Right.
So, like, she has this, like, another obstacle to overcome. Something else that I saw in reviews that some people were like, about, was that, like, the initiating factor of her beginning this journey of self-discovery was someone else telling her what to do. Which is a little, like...
I don't agree with that.
I'm not saying I agree or disagree. Yeah. I'm literally just saying this was something else that was brought up.
But I'm critiquing the criticism.
Okay.
I think that criticism is false, because that might be one of the major moments of, like, change in the movie, but that's not the inciting moment for it.
What would you say is the inciting?
I would say the inciting moment is a couple of scenes prior to that, when she finds a bunch of like hentai magazines and is like, oh, I could start my own career by drawing porn, basically. I wouldn't say that because if she didn't make the decision to do that, she wouldn't have been put in the position where the editor for that one magazine told her, you need to go have sex in order to learn how to write porn correctly, essentially.
Yeah.
So
I don't disagree with that. I agree.
Yeah.
The two things about that, actually. The manga in the movie was done by an actual manga artist.
That's cool.
But it was like just the, like, final product. They had to do, like, the storyboarding. Someone else had to do it. Because the manga artist was too busy. Insert here, because what manga artist isn't too busy?
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that was done by an actual manga artist. And they wanted to have more manga in the film, but they ran out of budget.
Okay, fair.
So one of those complaints about how, like, there's lack of manga towards the last third of the film, perhaps, could be because they just didn't have the funding to do it.
Yeah.
And when they were doing the casting, they told everyone that they reached out to that there would be nudity, that you would be, portrayed potentially having sex, and they were very upfront about that. And we want to make sure that you're okay with this.
Yeah.
And the director said that every single person that they interviewed said that they were okay with it. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, I guess if I think about it, like, it's Japan. So, like, nudity isn't, like, as big of a, like, taboo in Japan, right? I mean...
Oh, you mean, like because of bathhouses and stuff like that? And, like, showering together?
Yeah.
Or but bathing, like, with your family and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And... Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that.
I mean to say,
I don't know.
Compared to America.
Right.
Where, like, everybody wants to see all the skin, but it's ew, icky, gross. But everybody still wants to see it all.
Like, nipples are illegal.
Like, I don't understand. I do not understand all of that.
I've lived here my whole life and I don't get it.
Anyway.
Again, I apologize for where I was raised. Yeah, no, that's... I do find that interesting, because you would think that at least some people who auditioned would have had objections to that, but
well, that's what the director said. So we will take her at her word.
Yeah.
I was reading in another reviewer I'll read the quote actually, because
Okay.
I thought I did not notice this, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's actually really, really cool.
Okay.
And they talked about that in the interviews later. So this is from Loud and Clear Reviews.
Mm-hmm.
It says Hikari frames the shot so the camera is often at eye level with. I think they meant to say Yuma,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
they put Yuka, but I think they meant to say Yuma. With Yuma, which helps humanize her in the eyes of the viewer and places us in relation to her.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, how did I not notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did, like...
Because it worked.
Because it did, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked really well.
Yeah.
But they did talk about how the shooting, that she had said that it probably would have only taken 20 days.
Mm-hmm.
If they weren't working with a disabled person, but that they allotted for 45 days, and I think it went over.
Wow.
And I think that's just because of like having to work around, you know, like places that she could actually go and access.
Right.
Which I think,
which is something they talk about in the movie.
like that came up in the movie.
Yeah,
so I mean,
times.
that was like super authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really cool.
That is.
I was gonna say something else about that. Let me see if I wrote it down.
Episode ruined.
Yeah, just forget it. Just blah, 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 blah. Sorry.
No.
You talk. I've been trying to keep this going.
No, I appreciate it. You're carrying all of the weight for all of us, and we all love you for it. Thank you. Drop heart emojis in the comments for Kylie. But no, that's definitely, I think one of the biggest things that I appreciated about 37 Seconds in general is that basically every person that she interacts with, except for a very small handful, do infantilize her and look down on her and basically tell her without telling her directly that she couldn't survive on her own and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
her mom literally says that to her.
Right, she does directly say that to her. But now that you're pointing that out, that the way that it was filmed even reinforces like how wrong a lot of those people's opinions and actions toward her are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was I don't know. It's like I said, I think just growing up in the 90s and the 2000s in America, where most of the representation that we saw of people with disabilities in film was movies that were intentionally infantilizing them and being like, oh, you're such a, like you said, like, oh, you're such a hero, like,
Mm-hmm.
this is such a big thing, you know.
Well, I think the movie
nice
actually touches on that when she's doing the like, and it wasn't speed dating per se, but she's like trying to date.
Yes.
You know, and like I don't
Yes.
remember the exact quote.
Right.
But she's like, yeah, we're normal too.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
yeah, like.
Yeah, I can't remember what the guy asks her. But
I don't either.
Yeah.
I can't remember. You'll have to watch it for yourself.
Yeah. And then comment below what the guy asks her.
Yeah. It's really good though. One of the things that I noted in terms of the cinematography, well, two actually. So talking about like the shots and everything, there was a lot of like, it felt like B-roll.
Yeah.
And I interpreted that as like it was more like a documentary. The way that like they transition scenes, basically, they would include a lot of B-roll of like the surrounding area. And I thought that made it feel more real.
Definitely.
And something really cool about it was that the entire script was completely changed when they found May.
Oh yeah.
For that part. So
what was it before?
Hikari had written the script, and it was going to be a paralyzed woman who ends up falling in love with her caregiver.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's
like,
not at all what.
Completely different.
Yeah.
And so when she met Yuma, she started, or not Yuma, sorry, May, who plays Yuma. She started asking like, you know, all the questions about her life and like talking to her and like her mom and things like that. So she shaped the entire film
around
May. And I'm not saying like beat for beat, of course. But like she ended up, I think she said something about, I don't remember the year, she said something, it was probably 2019 that she found May in February and they started shooting in April. So between February and April of 2019, she rewrote the entire script. Which is like,
intense.
Wow, that is impressive. But yeah, I just thought that like the use of that transition.
Right. The B-roll, like the stock footage looking.
It felt like a documentary. Though there was definitely some. It straight up looked like it was like a model.
Oh my gosh.
Tokyo, and it was like.
Yes.
It wasn't, but it totally did. Like, I don't know why. It was just like the lighting or the angle or something. We were both like, wait, was that real? It was weird.
Yeah, some of the...
It was right at the beginning.
Like, establishing aerial shots.
Yeah. We were like, wait.
That's a model, isn't it?
Yeah, but it wasn't. I don't think it was.
I forgot about that. That was so strange.
It was bizarre. And then the other thing that I noticed was the use of the color blue, which I think I had mentioned to you.
You did mention that to me.
Anytime there's like a deeply emotional scene, specifically for Yuma, where I think I don't quote me because I was like, I only picked up on this like about halfway through the film and we didn't watch it again. But I think it was anytime she was speaking, and it was there was an emotion, I would say a sadness. The entire scene is just blue. It's just coated in blue. And I think that was really a dramatic way to express that. And I liked it though. Because it added a softness.
Yeah. Well, I think in general this movie was really pretty.
Oh yeah.
City models aside. No. I think, I don't know, there's something that I can't quite put words to, which is great for an audio format. Just about the style and the feel of this movie. And maybe it's just because we haven't super duper been keeping up with movies the last couple of years, as closely as we were before. Maybe all movies feel this like you said, soft and kind of warm and fuzzy in spite of not really being a happy movie and taking place in a city, which you generally wouldn't associate with being the warmest place in the world. But I don't know. There's something about their use of color in this, especially the blue, obviously. But I would bet if we went back and watched it again, there would be a lot more of that. There are a couple parts that take place, or maybe it's just one sequence of scenes that take place in a love hotel, and the immense amount of red there.
Oh yeah.
And I can't. And then later in the film, without spoilers, the immense amount of green.
Yes.
Each section has a specific color, if I kind of think about it.
Yeah.
That doesn't really flood the scene the same way later on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I can see that because I was also thinking green when you were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely it's a pretty movie.
It's very pretty.
It's not that long. I mean, it's average movie length, and it's enjoyable. I think it gives a perspective that should be provided more and more and more.
Yeah.
I want more movies like this to exist with what's the word? Representation. And I hope that this continues to be a trend with authentic representation. Let me say that because I can just see somebody in the comments being like, "Well, you said something about blah blah blah." No, authentic. That I'm gonna put that word there.
We'll just nip it in the bud. No, we're not talking about Dr. Michael Morbius. We are not talking about Jared Leto when we're talking about that.
Oh,
because
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, 10 years ago, he was nominated for an Oscar for playing a trans woman, I think.
Oh no, that's not what we're talking about.
That's not what we're talking. We're not talking about Morbius. It is always Morbin time.
We're not Morbin.
But we're not Morbin right now.
There's one other thing I had mentioned that I had written down that I wanted to say
about Morbius.
Yes.
Okay.
This is actually becoming a strictly Morbius discussion.
Okay, it's Morbin.
This point. It's Morbin time. I'm gonna read what I wrote because I might not be able to formulate it out audibly. So
okay.
The scene where the mother pulls out the shoes is parallel to discussion of having regrets. It's when Yuma is talking to Yoshi, I think was his name, about regrets and like, do you have any regrets? I think that's who.
Toshi.
Oh, Toshi.
Yeah.
I think that's who she was talking to.
I think so.
And the mom pulls down a box and there are 2 pairs of shoes in it. There's like all these kids' clothes and 2 pairs of shoes. So this is gonna go into spoilers. Spoilers. So just an FYI, this is a spoiler. I thought that the shoes she was holding were Yuka's because they were scuffed and dirty, while the shoes remaining in the box looks pristine.
Oh.
Almost unused, which could have suggested they were Yuma's.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. And so I felt like that particular moment was the mom holding Yuka's shoes because of her regret of not being in her daughter's life.
Damn.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, shit. So.
Yeah.
That's
a good catch.
That was the last thing.
I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah,
honestly.
I could be wrong. Don't know. But
someone will tell us, I'm sure.
Everyone loves to tell us when we're wrong.
Yep.
But that's all I had to say. Did you have anything else?
I don't think so. I would say that, talking about like authentic representation and everything like that and how much like we value that and how much more we want to see that in media. I mean, especially film, because it's audio, it's visual, it's storytelling, it involves words, it involves like in music, basically it's everything except gameplay is covered with film. So it's important for things to be there, for representation to be included in film, because there are so many ways that somebody could connect to something or relate to something.
Yeah.
I think knowing that she rewrote the majority, if not the entirety, of the script to be around a specific person that she had met makes it more authentic, because you could totally make the argument that the actor might be disabled, but that because they're not the one who wrote it, it's not really their story. If it's written by somebody who's able-bodied, who doesn't have cerebral palsy, but the fact that it was rewritten to be about this person, to be centered around this person, I think that makes it even more like, that makes it even stronger.
Yeah.
It's important. You should go watch it. And if you already got spoilers and stuff, like, it's okay. It's still great. You should go watch it.
I don't think there's like half spoilers.
Like, you gave enough information that halfway through the movie somebody could figure out what you're talking about.
Yeah, but
like,
I didn't specifically say this is the thing that happens. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, go watch 37 Seconds.
Do it.
If you can. If you can't, then thank you for listening to our review of 37 Seconds.
And we're here I say here, you could be listening to us in 2 different places. What?
Whoa, wow.
So for anybody who's on YouTube, if you look in the description, I am also converting these to audio only and putting them on Spotify to potentially, draw in new viewers / listeners. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, we're on YouTube, and you should go check us out, because we've got a ton of older content that is not over here on Spotify. So check it out. It's great.
Yay!
You'll have a fun time. Coming up next week, we've got our review of Morbius.
And then the week after that will also be our review of Morbius.
Yes. So I hope you all are ready for that. By the time these air, that's not just going to be a dead meme. That's going to be like has decayed in the ground
meme.
I
was going to say, that's like a whale fall meme.
Like there are bone worms living in that meme at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
right, everyone. Wherever you are, good night, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, we hope it's awesome.
Bye.